See Kevin Harvick in that 29 car going by Mark Martin in the 6. Remember back in May, that 29 car was definitely the class of the field. Didn't win, but he almost did.
5 bonus points for Denny Hamlin. Those could be big. You see the ticker at the top of the screen. The green are the guys chasing the Nextel Cup. The yellow, the one guy on the bubble. And just to show you how quickly this can change, right now, because of his starting spot, Tony Stewart is outside the top 10.
Yep, there's to see Tony Stewart working traffic. He's back in 38th. And he'll get by a lot of these guys. I mean, if he's just patient, he'll pick his way through, catch a couple of cautions, erase that distance between him and the leader. He's not out of this thing by any means.
I like what he said. 1 car every 10 laps.
I did too. I thought that was very, very appropriate. And again, I think that's the mentality that he needs to take early on in this race. It may change as the night wears on.
Tell you what, Harvick is taking a look at the 31, and 31 backs off. Let's Kevin Harvick, 29, take the 3rd spot.
Their teammates. And Harvick was great last night.
Oh, man, he just dominated the Busch race. Gets around this place very, very good. 31's dropping back a little bit, AB. What's going on?
Not to worry at this point, Wally, and nothing from Jeff Burton on the team radio. The one thing that they did talk about earlier today with me, Scott Miller, the crew chief, did, was the opportunity to lead a lap early and collect those 5 bonus points. He said we would like to do that. It would help us in the championship, but we're not going to do anything foolish early in the race to try and get it. The car not sticking as you'd like. You can stick with Denny Hamlin, so Jeff Burton backing off and trying to settle in line.
29 taking a look underneath the Jeff Gordon. And that's how Harvick's Busch car looked last night. I mean, that car rolled through the center. And if you can get a car that'll roll through the center of the corners here at Richmond, you're going to pass a lot of cars. If you go down in, you get on the brakes, then you let the car just roll through the center, get on the gas as hard as you can. If you can stay on the bottom and do that, you're going to be strong.
On board with Burton.
Whoa, Burton really pushes up the racetrack. He's going to lose a spot there. If he doesn't, he's lucky. Mark Martin took a look. That car pushed right up the racetrack.
And there's a hungry pack right behind him. An update on Jeff Gordon from Matt.
Bill, at driver intros, Jeff Gordon looked to be one of the most relaxed drivers getting ready for tonight's huge multi-million-dollar night. Now, Gordon has been involved in so many championship runs. He's won 4, but he's also lost a couple. But he'll tell you, back in '97, when he had to finish 17th or better, and that's pretty much where he ran all night, that was the most stress he's ever been in a race car. He says tonight actually should be more on the fun side, Marty.
Matt, crew chief Pat Tryson from Mark Martin went to all the teams that started in front of him. There were 3. Mark Martin started 3rd tonight, and asked them if they could all lead a lap early in the race. What do you think the answer was, guys?
No.
Yeah, no was the answer. They all tried to work a deal. The crew chiefs all agreed, but 3 of the 4 drivers said no. So they all were going to exchange the lead early in the race. Mark wants those 5 bonus points, just like the guys in front of him. And all these guys are chasers, looking for every point they can get tonight, Bill.
Now he's going to have to earn it then, because these guys are still racing against each other.
And this, you never know, but this might be his best opportunity to get those 5 bonus points because of the good starting spot and very limited traffic in front of him. But it doesn't look like his car has it right now. Up front, Hamlin continues to lead. An update from Dave.
And Curtis Markham, his spotter, had been approached by a number of people about leading a lap early. Again, the answer was no. And right now, Denny Hamlin has his 5 bonus points, and he has the line on the racetrack he likes to run low and drive it straight off the corners. Alan?
Dave, there are 2 races to be run tonight for Kevin Harvick. One, while there are still all the cars running in the race, another to be run after 3 cars fall out, and he's assured of 40th or better. His crew chief Todd Berrier told me he would rather finish 25th and be locked into the championship than lead 300 laps and wind up outside of the race for the chase for the Nextel Cup. So while Kevin Harvick is up front, he's staying out of trouble, but this team will play it somewhat conservatively until they know they're in the chase.
Kevin Harvick trying to make it into his first chase for the Nextel Cup. Says the intensity of the chase is not a one-day deal, it's a 7-day-a-week deal.
It's been as intense as ever. I mean, it's something where you go home, or at least I do, you go home and you want to know what you have to do to be in the chase. We've been on the outside looking in the last couple of years, so it's you know, it's important for us to capitalize on our situation and make that happen. So it's something that there's a lot of pressure on the guys on the team. There's a lot of pressure on the drivers. There's a lot of pressure on the owners. There's, you know, that are coming from the sponsors. So I mean, there's pressure all around, whether they want to admit it or not.
Second here in May, a couple of wins this season, 11 top 10s. His worst finish, 17th in 16 races here. Tony Stewart started in the 40th spot, currently 35th in the running order, 11th in the championship standings, and an update from Matt.
Bill just trying to be patient in the early going. Now, right before the green flag, Smoke came on the radio and told his team, more like a coach, said, just do what we always do. We've been in this situation before. The 3 previous times he's had to go to a backup car, he has come home with a strong top 10 finish. That's all they need to do tonight. They said they just have to race 3 other cars. That's all they're concerned. Everybody else, they can do what they want to do, but that's our concern tonight. He's just trying to take it easy, and like his other message on the dash says, just keep the ears of the dog, means take care of those fenders.
A lot of traffic out there. Marty on Matt Kenseth.
Well, Bill, it'd be very easy for Matt Kenseth in this much to kind of take it easy tonight, just ride around the back and really get ready next week for New Hampshire, maybe try some things like that. But first, there's a battle for the lead, Bill.
And Denny Hamlin's going to pull over and give it to Harvick.
He watched last night's race, too, from his car.
Now, if Harvick can get back to the start-finish line, that's 5 points. 5 huge points.
Exactly right.
But I'm not sure that these guys that are locked in, I guess, I don't know if I'd be giving points up until I was locked in.
You might have seen that Harvick's car was so good, he didn't want it back there.
Yeah. Casey Kane in the 9 car, going underneath Stremme in the 40.
Moves into the 13th position, Alan.
Yeah, just on the pace laps before the green flag, Casey Kane radioed into his crew. He said, guys, you've done a good job for me. Let's just go out tonight, do our best, and we'll see what happens. What's happened so far is Casey's picked up 7 spots. He started 20th. He's moved up to 13th.
5 wins this season, still on the outside of the chase coming into this event. Came here 2 years ago trying to make it, didn't get in, got knocked out. Comes in off the win at California. Kane's in 13th.
You know, we had a great shot last night. BP, if you were watching the Busch race of the rotors. This place is really tough on brakes. And we were watching earlier, BP pointed out that that 20 car looked like it had a lot of...
Check that out. I mean, those brake rotors are really, really hot. Well, Tony, trying to get through that traffic, is using more brakes than, say, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, some of those guys up front. But now that he's cleared a little bit of that traffic, they're still pretty doggone hot.
Yeah, we're only 24 laps into this race. Problem is, too, you're back there in traffic, and you don't get the air to the nose, to the hoses, to the brakes, like you would if you were in cleaner air. So these guys' brakes are going to heat up a little bit more than the guys that are up front and strung out and are getting a lot more clean air to the nose of their cars.
And the drivers won't admit it as much, but you talk to the crew guys in the garage this afternoon, starting 20th, 33rd, 40th, they were definitely nervous about so many things that can happen in traffic and so many things that can happen to your car.
There's no question, when you're back there in traffic, I mean, you never know what's going to happen. You know, somebody... We saw last night a lot of problems where, you know, guys would check up in front and then a bunch of guys would run into each other. And that's a problem when you're in traffic like this.
Matt?
Bill Stewart spotter Mark Robertson, who's actually from Richmond, looked down, just the view you had as the car went into one, and could see how hot those rotors were, and just cautioned Tony to make sure that he had all the blowers on.
Yeah, that's another thing. Drivers got all these switches on their dash, and a lot of those switches are brake blowers and fans that help keep the tire, the inside of the tire, as well as the rotors cooled off. So sometimes you forget when you're on the pace lap, and you always have your crew guys or a spotter remind you, make sure all the pumps are turned on and all the fans are turned on.
Stewart continues to work his way through traffic. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. Worked his way up to 25th, started 33rd. Marty?
Yeah, Junior's trying to do the same thing Tony Stewart's doing. He's a little ahead of Tony Stewart. Started 33rd, as you mentioned, Bill, up to 25th. They were concerned about the early part of the race for what Wally mentioned, being in traffic, maybe getting caught up in someone else's wreck, but also because they feel like their car is really set up for later in the race. The car is going to be extremely loose for the first quarter of this race. They feel like the racetrack will tighten up, their car will get better, and that's when they'll be good, when it counts around lap 400.
See how that works out for him. This is for third place. Jeff Gordon in the 24, Jeff Burton in the 31. And as we watch this, keep in mind, Kevin Harvick, the race leader, Tony Stewart in 34th. But Stewart is only about 4 seconds in front of Harvick, 4 seconds away from getting lapped.
Yeah, he does not want that to happen. I mean, once you get a lap down, the leaders will start lapping cars quickly, and you won't be in position for the lucky dog if the yellow comes out because there's so much traffic. So yeah, Stewart needs to try to stay ahead of Harvick.
Just the beginning of the big night here at Richmond in the Chevy Rock and Roll 400, and the Chevy of Kevin Harvick is out front, trying to take car owner Richard Childress into the chase, and maybe another run at a championship for RCR.
Stay up high there. Dig leaders coming.
First caution has just come out here at Richmond. Sterling Marlin in turn 4 goes around, brings out the caution with 35 laps complete.
Tony Stewart, I had seen Tony racing with Sterling Marlin in the 14 car, and looks like there's going to be a little contact coming off turn 4.
They had been racing hard for a number of laps.
Don't forget, he knows the 29 was coming.
Good job by Sterling, keeping him off the wall. On board with Brian Vickers.
Corner. Spin it. Hold what you got. Stay up top. Come on, got a yellow.
Leaders to pit road, Matt.
And a two-time Richmond winner, Jeff Gordon, going to make a wedge and a track bar adjustment. The car is tight in the center, but that's not his biggest issue. The loose on exit. He's losing so much time. Marty.
Mark Martin said, man, these tires feel like they're wearing out quickly. A little too tight for Mark. Half round down, the right rear wedge bolt, and a quick stop for the 6-bunch, Alan.
These pit stops going to be so important tonight. A good, smooth 4-tire change for Kevin Harvick's team, Dave.
Denny Hamlin gave up the lead. Very, very tight race car. Track bar and air pressure adjustment. A little slow. Trouble on the left front. He'll lose positions on pit road.
Boy, it's going to be a big night down there, too. These teams, the guys over the wall, know they cannot make mistakes.
We got Mark Truex Jr. going the wrong way. I guess.
Go forward.
He needs to just go. Come back, or he's going to get lapped.
Well, he'd already left his stall.
Okay.
So he pulls out, gets hit by Kurt Busch, almost got the NASCAR official.
Man.
Those officials on pit road do a great job. The only time you hear about them is when they see a loose lug nut or in a situation like that. They do a good job down there.
Wow, that's like a bullfighter.
Sure. Caution is out. Reset the running order when we come back.